Alright guys, it's Matt from House Geek, and today we are going to cover the last of the review on the Drukhari, which is the Dark Eldar from Index Xenos 1. I believe this is part 5, I think now, of the review, so it's the final part. So we've covered HQ troops, fast attack elites and flyers. So today we're going to cover heavies. We'll also, I'll quickly cover as well at the end my final thoughts and final opinion on the Dark Eldar as a whole, and how I've played with them, what I think works well, what doesn't work well, and how I think they'll go in the future. So we'll start off in the for the Dark Eldar in the heavy support section. I think there's only 3 entries. So we'll cover these, should be going over these quite quickly. So first that comes up is the Talos. Okay, so the Talos. Talos starts off at movement 8, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 4+, strength and toughness 6, 7 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 8 with a 3+ armor save. His power rating of 7. Points wise, I can't remember off the top of my head, I think he's fairly reasonable. Talos is 88 points and it can be a squad size of 1 to 3. So 88 points is just the flat Talos. Each model is equipped with 2 splinter cannons and 2 macro scalpels. Okay, so splinter cannon is 15 points, I believe. Splinter cannon, so 15 points, so there's 30 points straight off the bat. So 88 plus 30 is what, 108, 118? 118 I believe straight away. And then 2 macro scalpels. In the melee section, macro scalpel is 4 points, and we've got 2 of them, so there's another 8. So 126, possibly, might be, and call it 130 points for aesthetic purposes, just so we get it done and out of the way. So for 130 points, that's basically what you're getting. That's the flat, what you can have. So any Talos, and this is in the war gear options now. Any Talos may replace his 2 macro scalpels, or one of its macro scalpels, for chain flails, an Ichor injector, and a twin liquefier gun. So chain flails is 3 points, so it's 1 point less. We'll quickly go over actually what the macro scalpel is. So the macro scalpel is at the bottom. It's obviously range melee, type melee. He is strength as user, so he's strength 6, -1 AP, and does 2 points of damage. A model equipped with a macro scalpel can make 1 additional attack in close combat of it each time it fights. A model equipped with 2 macro scalpels may make 2 additional attacks in close combat each time it fights. So you've got 4 attacks, with 2 macro scalpels you're going to be up to 6 attacks. So yeah, strength user, strength 6, AP -1 with 2 damage. And the chain flails is 1 point less, and chain flail is strength as user, 0 AP, only does 1 damage, and you can reroll failed rolls to wound with this weapon. Okay. An Ichor injector is 5 points, so 1 point more. Ichor injector is melee, strength user, AP 0, damage 1. The bearer can make a maximum of 1 attack with the Ichor injector each turn. So with your 4 attacks, you can only make 1 of them with the Ichor injector. Any remaining attacks must be done with a different melee weapon. You can reroll wound rolls with this weapon. Each time you roll a wound roll of a 6+ with this weapon, it suffers D3 mortal wounds in addition to any other damage. So out of your 4 attacks, I suppose 5 attacks, because obviously if you have an acro ejector, the other weapon will be a micro scalpel. So out of your 5 attacks, one must be an acro injector. If you roll a 6, you re-roll and fail wounds, which is nice. If you roll a 6 to wound, the target suffers D3 mortal wounds in addition to any other damage. So 6 to wound, just for D3 mortal wounds, it's highly unlikely. You know, that one attack's going to need 3s to hit. You know, I don't know. Let's have a look what the final one is. Or a twin liquefier gun. A twin liquefier gun is 26 points, so quite pricey for a twin liquefier gun. Twin liquefier gun is range 8, assault 2d6, strength 3. AP is minus D3, so you roll each time you basically fire the weapon, and it is damage 1. Each time this weapon is fired, roll D3 to determine the AP of the attacks. For example, if you roll a 1, this weapon will have an AP value of 1. Yeah, basically. So yeah, if you roll a 1 to 2, it's AP minus 1. A 3 to 4, it's AP minus 2, and a 5 to 6, it's AP minus 3. And this weapon automatically hits as well. So like a flamer. Is it worth 26 points though? Probably not. If you could deep strike them in like you used to be able to with the Homunculus Coven's Dark Eldar formation, you know, using the webway portal and deep strike them in, then it'd be quite a handy thing to use. Obviously, it automatically hits 2d6 shots, and it's only range 8, so you're gonna have to be pretty close to use it. Okay. So finally, at the bottom, any Talos may replace its 2 splinter cannons with stinger pods, 2 heat lances, or 2 haywire blasters. So the splinter cannons are obviously 15 points each, and you have 2 of them, so that's 30. So you can replace it with a stinger pod. Stinger pod is 0, so it's actually free for a stinger pod. Stinger pod is range 24, assault 2d6, strength 5, AP 0, 1 damage, and it's got nothing special about it. So it's just basically assault 2d6. So it's a cheap and cheerful option. So you can swap out your 30 points worth of splinter cannon for a stinger pod. So obviously you can get Talos a bit cheaper that way. Stinger pod, 2 heat lances. A heat lance is 25 points. So for 2 heat lances, you're looking at 50 points. That's quite pricey. So a heat lance is range 18, assault 1, strength 6, AP minus 5, and d6 points of damage. If the target is within half range, so half of 18 is 9. So if you're within 9 inches, roll 2 dice when inflicting damage, and discard the lowest result. So basically like a melter. Now the only problem I have with the heat lance is it's only 1 shot and your ballistic skill is 4+. So 50-50 chance you're going to miss. It is only strength 6. Yeah, it's just if the ballistic skill 3+, then it might be a more viable option. But for 50 points, you can take 2 of them. So on the odd chance, you know, one will always hit. If you're lucky, 2 will hit. If you're unlucky, you know, they'll both miss. The other option is 2 haywire blasters. Haywire blaster is, I think we've covered this before for Scourge. Haywire blaster is 12 points. It is range 24, assault 1, strength 4, AP minus 1, damage 1. If the target is a vehicle and you roll a wound roll of 4+ for this weapon, the target suffers 1 mortal wound in addition to any other damage. If the wound roll is a 6, you inflict D3 mortal wounds instead of 1. So again with the haywire is not as good as it used to be. Obviously, previous edition you used to be able to glance vehicles down quite comfortably, really, with haywire. Now it's not so good. It's a bit naff, to be honest. As abilities wise, it has power from pain, which is nice. Insensible to pain, this model has a 5+ invulnerable save, which is cool, and it does explode. So, keywords, it's got the Homunculus Coven keyword, Eldar Drukhari, and it is a monster Talos. So, if I was to, my opinion on a Talos is they have taken a bit of a hit compared to what they were in a previous edition. Toughness 6 is down from what it used to be. It used to be toughness 7. It used to be strength 7 as well, which is obviously come down. It's slightly quicker movement, which is nice, so it's obviously not just going to be floating up the board really slow, because it only used to be a 6-inch move. Weapon skill, ballistic skill hasn't changed really. Wounds obviously have. It used to have, I believe, 3 wounds, so it's up to 7 now. Attacks, I think the attacks characteristic has gone up by 1. I think it only used to have 3 attacks. Leadership and save, I think, is pretty much the same. My only problem with this, with the Talos, is this is supposed to be basically the dreadnought of the Dark Eldar. So when Marines have got their dreadnoughts, they're a lot better. So I think they have roughly the same amount of wounds. They have better toughness, definitely a better loadout in weapons, definitely. The weapons for the Talos are actually quite poor, considering this is supposed to be a combat monster inflicting pain across, across the galaxy. These things are feared everywhere. It's like a floating, silent pain engine. These things live and thrive on causing pain and suffering to others. And for attack, if I was going to kit it out, I'd just leave it with the 2 macro scalpels. So it's going to have 6 attacks. It's got the better AP with -1. It's only -1, but it's what you've got. So that having that -1 definitely helps, and it is 2 damage. So you're always going to be doing 2 damage. You are only strength 6, so against most vehicles are toughness 6. So you're going to be wounding on 4s, if not 5s, but only -1 AP. So you are going to be struggling to wound these vehicles and things really. You can make it toughness 7 because it's got the Homunculus Coven keyword if you have a Homunculus nearby. So you can, with his little 6-inch buff he's got around him, it would make these toughness 7. But yeah, I believe Talos have taken quite a big hit in this edition. Whether that gets rectified when Dark Eldar actually get their own official codex, I really do hope they do, because Talos in this, like I say, in this edition have taken quite a big hit. Most things in the Dark Eldar Index at the minute are quite a viable choice. You can take them, make them work. There's 1 or 2 things that are quite weak, and I believe you probably won't see them again. I mean, I've got 5 Talos and 2 Kronos. I think one of those Kronos I can actually make into a Talos. So I could have 2 units of 3 if I wanted to. But yeah, I believe they've taken quite a big hit really. Yeah, if I was going to kit mine out, leave the macro scalpel, and I would probably give it the Stinger pods rather than the splinter cannon, just to make it cheaper. I wouldn't be pouring too many points into the Talos. I'd have them just slowly moving up the board, obviously only movement 8. Yeah, movement 8, so I'd have them just literally just trundling up the board, making my opponent deal with them when they finally got into combat. They've got quite a large amount of wounds, so whether they'd get there or not, who knows. So that's how I would use Talos, and that's my opinion on Talos. So next we will go on to the Talos' little brother, which is the Kronos. Okay, the Kronos is movement 8, weapon skill 4+, ballistic skill 4+, strength 5, toughness 6, 7 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 9 with a 3+ armor save. It is slightly worse off than the Talos, so that it's got 1 less weapon skill. So this has only got a weapon skill of 4+, and the Talos has got a weapon skill of 3+. It's got 1 less strength. Obviously the Talos is strength 6, is only strength 5. Same amount of wounds. It has 1 less attack. It has a better leadership. Great, I suppose. Same save. Each model is equipped with a Spirit Siphon and a Spirit Leech tentacles. So a Kronos is 102 points, so it's actually more expensive already, just flat out. What did it have? Equipped with a Spirit Siphon. Is that a ranged weapon? Spirit Siphon is 0 points, so you're not having to pay any points for that, which is nice. And Spirit Leech Tentacles, that's got to be a melee weapon. Spirit Leech Tentacles is 0 points. So for a flat 102 points, you're getting your basic Kronos. So what do the weapons and stuff do? So the Spirit Siphon. Spirit Siphon is a range of 8, assault d6, strength 3, AP -2, 1 damage. This weapon automatically hits the target. Any attacks with a rune roll of 6+ for this weapon have a damage characteristic of d3 instead of 1. So strength 3, you're going to be wounding most things on 5s. Obviously Marines, Orcs. Okay, obviously Marines, we're covering all form of Marines, so Chaos and Space Marines. Necrons, Orcs. That's roughly about it, I believe. Some Tyranids. You're going to be wounded on 5s. Monsters and vehicles, you're going to be wounded on 6s. But it is AP -2, so if you do get that 6 to wound, things are going to be a bit harder to save. But if you do get that 6 to wound, the damage characteristic is 3+. It is a D3 instead of 1. So it's not bad. It is a free upgrade, but again, at 18th range, you're going to have to get up there to actually use it. Spirit Leech Tentacles is obviously range melee. It's a melee weapon. It is AP -1. It only does 1 damage. Any attack with a rune roll of a 6+ for this weapon have its damage characteristic of D3 instead of 1. So it's sort of the same as a Spirit Siphon, but it's a melee version of it. So strength user, so it's only strength 5, AP -1. Again, a really low AP here, and it is only 1 damage. If you roll a 6, it's D3 damage. Any model may take a Spirit Vortex, so you haven't got to swap anything out, you can just take it. So a Spirit Vortex is a range weapon, I believe it is, so it's 13 points. So for 13 points you're going to get something that is range 18, assault d6, strength 3, AP -2, 1 damage. Attacks with this weapon that run on a 6 with this weapon have the damage characteristic of D3 instead of 1. So it is exactly the same as the Spirit Siphon, apart from it's got better range. So range of 18. Yeah, it's not bad. It's got power from pain, so it's designed to get into combat, which is nice. Insensible to pain, so it's got a 5+ invulnerable save, just like its older brother. It explodes, just like so. These 3 rules are exactly the same. But the rule that makes it stand out slightly compared to its other brother is the Spirit Probe. So you can re-roll wound rolls of 1 for friendly Drukhari units that are within 6 inches of this model in the fight phase. So basically any Dark Eldar models that are within 6 inches of the Kronos can re-roll 1s. So that's not too bad. Don't forget, obviously, if your Drukhari are built for combat, you've got your power from pain. From turn 3, you're getting +1 to hit. So pretty much everything in your army will be hitting on 2s from turn 3 onwards. If they're within 6 inches of this, they're going to be re-rolling the ones that miss. So it's quite nice. In addition, if a Kronos inflicts 1 or more wound in the fight phase, you can pick a friendly Drukhari unit within 6 inches of the Kronos that is not a vehicle. That unit, the unit you pick recovers 1 wound lost early in the battle. So your Grotesques, your other Kronos, your Talos, your heroes, I suppose your characters, all can regain 1 wound each. Is it each attack? It'd be nice if it was each wound you cause. If a Kronos inflicts 1 or more, that's just 1 or more wounds. So if you have multiple Kronos, you can obviously give multiple characters and vehicles, not vehicles, recover wounds. Whether you can bring models back from the dead, I don't know. Recovers one wound lost early in the battle. Because it states, I suppose, recovers one wound earlier in the battle. I don't think you can recover dead models. It'd be nice if you could, but as it's worded, I don't think that's how it's meant to be. So the Kronos as a whole is a okay model. The rules wise, it's not too bad. Would I give it the Spirit Vortex? Probably not. Just to keep it cheap, just to keep the points value down on it. What were the points for the Spirit Vortex? Spirit Vortex was 13 points. So yeah, spend them 13 points elsewhere. Just get this Kronos as across the board as quick as possible. Keep it close to other units, obviously, so they benefit from its Spirit Probe, and so they benefit, from the rerolling ones and things like that in the fight phase. Again, I think it's taken a bit of a hit. You can make it toughness 7 because it's got the homunculus covering keyword. If there's a homunculus within its bubble range, you can make it toughness 7. Melee wise, it's not great. It's probably okay for killing infantry models, just getting in combat, tying stuff up. I would keep the Kronos and the Talos probably keep them away from vehicles. Again, these things are basically the dreadnoughts of the Dark Eldar, like obviously dreadnoughts are to Chaos Space Marines and normal Space Marines. But dreadnoughts are kitted out a lot better. Their melee weapons are so much better. The range weapons are so much better. More AP, better damage. Some of better strength, like a power fist, ×2 strength, -3, -3 AP does D3. Is it 3 points of damage or D3 points? Something like that. It's straight away better off the bat. And I think that Talos and Kronos need something like that to make them more viable, because at the minute I imagine there's not many people taking them. If you guys are taking them, or if you guys are seeing them in your local gaming stores, comment and let me know how they do. In my local gaming store, they're not particularly a viable choice. Mostly it's like a venom spam, ravager spam, fly spam, things like that. You don't really see many Kronos and Talos. I have used grotesques and things like that. They are still quite good. They're a good viable combat option. A lot of wounds, good attacks, good at getting across the board in raiders. These things only movement 8, not massively, don't have a great deal of AP, don't do a massive amount of damage. So if they had a special ability to keep things locked in combat, like something can never disengage, then that would make them quite cool, make them quite a good viable option. But yeah, if people have used them, like I say, and had positive things to say about them, comment and let me know how you've used them and how well they've worked for you. So finally, we're going to come to the Ravager. The Ravager is back in a good way, so we'll quickly cover him next. So the Ravager, he is movement star, weapon skill 4+, ballistic skill star, strength and toughness 6, 10 wounds, attack star. We don't have initiative anymore. Leadership 7 with a 4+ save. On the damage chart, 10, so maximum wounds to 6 wounds. He's movement 14, ballistic skill 3+, 3 attacks. Wounds 5 to 3. He goes down to movement 10, ballistic skill 4+, and attacks D3. And remaining wounds 2 to 1. He goes down to movement 6, ballistic skill 5+, and 1 attack. The Ravager is a single model equipped with blade veins and 3 dark lances. So the Ravager is Ravager is 95 points. So that's quite standard for Dark Eldar vehicles, really. It's not bad. Dark lances, I'm not going to cover them too much because they've been in pretty much the stable choice in most Dark Eldar things. Dark lances are 20 points. Blade veins are 0, so you get the blade veins for free. I'm not going to go into Dark Lance because we've covered it so many times. We'll quickly go over it again, very very briefly. Range 36, heavy 1, strength 8, -4 AP, damage D6. Change this weapon type from heavy to assault if it is mounted on a vehicle. So it's not heavy, it's actually assault now. Yeah, strength 8, -4 AP, D6 damage. Solid choice. You know, you're going to take it because that's the best chance you've got of punching through vehicles and things like that. This model may replace any of its Dark Lancers with a disintegrator cannon. Because you can split fire now, it might be worth taking a disintegrator cannon on each one, maybe. Who knows? Disintegrator cannon I think is slightly more expensive, so it's 30 points rather than 20 points for the Dark Lance. Disintegrator cannon is range 36, assault 3, strength 5, AP -3, damage 2. So that's not bad at all. So you can take 1 or 2 or 3 of them. You can replace the Dark Lancers with them, that's fine. So your Dark Lancers are going to be 60 points for 3. Your disintegrator cannons are going to be 90 points for 3. So almost doubling the points cost of the Ravager. This model may take a shock prow if you want to. Shock prow is 1 point. I think we'll cover the shock prow with the transports, but we'll very, very quickly go over it there. Shock prow, range melee, strength user, AP -1, strength 1. You can basically use this as maximum of 1 attack. Must be used on the shock prow. If the bearer charges turn successful attacks with this weapon, damage restrict are D3 instead of 1. So that is it really. It has got Night Shield, so it's got a 5+ invulnerable save. I think it's been FAQ'd to state that it has a 5+ invulnerable save against shooting, not just a 5+ invulnerable save all the time. I believe. Comment and let me know if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it has been FAQ'd to say that it's against shooting only, not everything. And it can explode like all vehicles can. So that's it really for the Ravager. My opinion and stuff on the Ravager. I have used it quite a few times. I think I've taken at least one in every single one of my games so far. Yeah, solid choice, very, very good choice. Toughness 6. Yeah, you don't need homunculus nearby. Well, you can't anyway because it's not got a homunculus keyword. 10 wounds, just like all other Dark Eldar vehicles. So the choice between the Dark Lance and the Disintegrator Cannon. So the Dark Lance obviously has 1 shot, strength 8, -4 AP, D6 damage. Disintegrator Cannon has 3 shots, only strength 5, -3 AP, and only does 2 damage. So obviously people might be thinking, well, the obviously logical choice is just go for 3 Dark Lances. Is it though? That's the question I want to ask. Dark Lancers only have 1 shot, Disintegrator Cannon has 3, so if you max out your Disintegrator Cannons you're going to get 9 shots. Your Dark Lancers are only going to get 3 shots. 3's to hit, on average one of the Dark Lancers will miss. Strength 8 against most armour of vehicles is 7. From what I've seen it's roughly about 7. So it'll be 3's most of the time. If things are toughness 8, it's going to be 4's. So I think Land Raiders are toughness 8 and Monoliths are toughness 8. So it's a case of weighing up the balance between high-powered, high-strengthed, more damage shots to more shots with obviously lesser strength, lesser damage. I mean, strength 5 is nothing to snort about really. I mean, you're going to be wounding Monoliths and Land Raiders on 5s, so it's not bad. It's not bad. Still it's -3 AP, so I think a Land Raider's armor save is 2+. So what's that? 3, 4, 5. So it's going to take it to a 5+ armor save, and it's 2 damage all the time. So it's a case of finding that balance between, are you going for just sheer armor punching power, which is that's my personal choice. But I do understand people's argument, because some people believe that you actually cause more damage with 3 Disintegrator Cannons because of the more shots that you're actually kicking out. So, and obviously it's 2 damage all the time. You might get two hits from a Dark Lance. Out of 3, 2 will hit. If you're unlucky, only 1 will wound, and then on that D6 damage you roll a 1. It's like, oh, crap, and you've already used your reroll earlier on that turn. Whereas obviously your disintegrator cannon, even if only 9 shots, 3's to hit, so say 6 will go through, 5's to wound, say at least 2, maybe 3 if you're lucky, so we'll just call it 2 for now. -3 save, only let's say 1 goes through against the Land Raider, you know, that's 2 damage straight off the bat. If you roll well, it'll be more. If you roll less, obviously, you know, it's unlucky. But I do understand why people take disintegrator cannons over dart lances. Me personally, I prefer dart lances, just for that sheer weight of firepower, punching power. Because it's an assault as well, you can still move and shoot. You know, it's classed as heavy there, obviously, but the ability means you switch it to assault rather than heavy. My own personal preference, like I say, 3 dart lances. You want to take at least 1 Ravager per, if you can. Why not? You know, why not take 3? I would like to take 3. I've taken 3 in 1 game, I believe, and they did do well. So, and that is it. Yeah, Harlequins after that. So that is it for the Dark Eldar. So my own opinions, views of what I think of them and the direction I think they'll go. So the Dark Eldar as a whole, I think, are strong. I believe they are quite a good army now. They're quite well rounded. They seem to have a lot. They seem to be back more competitively as well, especially these days. Not that they weren't previously. There were other armies that were better than them, obviously competitively. If you were into tournaments or something into the competitive scene in the previous edition, you know that Eldar and Tau, you know, they always did really, really well. And then obviously all the big Death Stars and stuff. Obviously Death Stars have now gone. Eldar have taken a bit of a hit. I'm not going to do an Eldar review anytime soon. I probably will do eventually. My Eldar they're finished for 7th edition. Obviously we're in 8th edition, so I'm currently working through my Dark Eldar to get all of the models ready for 8th edition. I do obviously have a lot of models that are ready. I'm just getting other models painted up, so filler models like extra blasters, extra dart lances, extra cyberites, changing weapons over on vehicles and models and things like that. And then I will come to do Eldar after them. But anyway, enough of that. Dark Eldar. We're talking Dark Eldar. Yeah, competitively they are quite good. Obviously they wound everything on 4s now. There's no such thing as gargantuan creatures. So your Wraith Knights, your Storm Surges, you're wounding them on 4s now because you poison, which is really nice. They're good at shooting because obviously they wound everything on 4+, and vast majority of stuff for the Dark Eldar has an option to a Dark Lance. So all your Raiders, your Ravagers, your Standard Warriors, your Trueborn, your Scourge, your Witches, I believe have Witches can have blaster pistols, or the Hecatrix, can have blaster pistols. Combat as well. You can make a half decent combat army out of Dark Eldar, because obviously Power from Pain is kitted out towards combat. Obviously, first turn you ignore wounds on 6s. Second turn reroll advanced moves and charges. Third turn is +1 to hit. Fourth turn, I'm struggling to remember. Fourth turn, I got it here. Well, that was quite quick. Turn 4, sorry, yeah. You automatically pass morale. And then turn 5, you subtract 1 from leadership of enemy units within 6 inches. So yeah, so you kit it out to get into combat. It's the Power from Pain is rewarding you for getting into combat. So it's almost pushing you in that direction to take combat units. Strong combat units for Dark Eldar are going to be Grotesques, Incubi, small units of Incubi, like have them as a hunting pack. Mandrakes, you know, MVP of Dark Eldar for me. Every game they've played in, they've shone. They've done really, really well, shooting and combat as well. The Flyers are a very good viable choice. -1 to hit. They have an invulnerable save as well. They've not got a bad amount of wounds. they've got an average toughness. You can give them 2 dart lances, a missile, and a splinter cannon, or I'll probably just take the twin splinter rifle personally now after looking at it. So they've got quite a good flyer base, they've got a good shooting base, and they've got quite a good combat base as well now. They're very, very fast moving. Obviously kitting stuff out to be in raiders, venoms, things like that, so they can get across the board really quick for, is it Maelstrom missions? I can never remember. The one where you get the cards and stuff, I think it's Maelstrom missions. So yeah, so for me, Dark Eldar are back. They can be glass cannon-ish, but from what I've heard online, from what I've seen in my local store, and from what I've seen on YouTube as well, a lot of people are having quite a good amount of success with Dark Eldar. The win to loss ratio is quite good, so that is what I believe. That's how these are my personal opinion, mere personal views. If people are having problems with Dark Eldar, comment and let us know what problems you're having. There's people that watch the channel that play Dark Eldar, that have played against them. They might be able to give you some tips and pointers, and I will do my best to help as well. The way I think Dark Eldar will go in the future will be that they will be rolled. They will roll all of the Eldar factions together. Now they've already released the new Eldar faction, the Ynnari. Do I think they're going to bring out a Ynnari Codex, a standalone Ynnari Codex? No, I don't, because it is only 3 options. It's literally the 3 characters. So obviously the avatar, the dude with a sword, and the bird with the cat, the Jinx cat thing. So it's literally only 3 models and special rules. That is all they have, especially in this index, and in 7th edition, that's all they had as well. So at the minute, I'm hoping to get this video out sometime this week. Well, it should be this week. It will be this week. So at the minute, we've had the new Space Marines Codex released this weekend, or a couple of days ago, depends on when I get this video out. It should be in the next few days. It's going to be Chaos Space Marines and Grey Knights. I believe it is in a couple of weeks. It's going to be Death Guard. So that's the first 4 codexes, actual 8th edition codexes for this edition. The hope, Games Workshop have already announced it. They're hoping to get 10. Well, they are going to get 10 codexes, actual codexes, out before Christmas, and that works out at 2 codexes a month. So if they've done 4 Marine codexes within the first 2 months of 8th edition release, so we're talking Chaos Space Marines, Grey Knights, Death Guard, and normal Marines. So 4 Marines. 4. It doesn't matter whether they're Chaos or Imperial. It doesn't matter. It's 4 Marine chapters. I think at least the next 2 will be a form of Xenos faction. So it could be Orcs, it could be Necrons, Tau, Tyranids, Genestealer Cult, any of the other form of Eldar. Personally, I think they're actually going to interroll all the Eldar. I think they might enroll all of the Genestealer Cult and Tyranids, possibly. It makes sense that they do, but whether they do that or not, I don't know. But I do believe they're going to enroll the Dark Eldar, the Eldar, Harlequins, and Ynnari. The reason why I think that is because the Ynnari is only three choices. The Harlequins is a very, very limited faction as well. Whether they just put those 2 together and release it as a Ynnari Codex, and obviously work out that can ally with that can ally with that, and whatever. That might be a possible thing. But the way the Ynnari is built, it is that it is a standalone Eldar, Dark Eldar, Harlequin mashup. So it makes sense for them all to be in the same codex, rather than have to buy Codex Eldar, Codex Ynnari, Codex Dark Eldar. It makes sense for them all to be in one codex. Now, Games Workshop being a business, it makes sense to me it all being in one codex, but Games Workshop as a business will probably just go, no, we're going to release three separate codexes, and if you want to play Ynnari, you're going to have to buy all 3 codexes. So that's what I think's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if it is just one big chunky codex and maybe have like a £40–50 price tag in the UK. I don't know what it would be, obviously, elsewhere outside of the UK. So yeah, that's what I believe will happen. I do believe that it will be, we may see just a Eldari, Eldari codex, rather than it be one or the other. But inside that Eldar codex, it will give you the choice for it to be a Ynnari army. Then it give you a choice just for it to be a pure Craftworld army, or a pure Dark Eldar army, or a pure Harlequin army. So yeah, that's how I believe it's going to pan out for the pointy years in the future. So that's it for all my reviews for the Dark Eldar. I really do hope you've enjoyed this series, parts 1 to 5. If you've enjoyed it, let me know, and I'll do another one, probably on the Eldar, because they will be my next revamp, should I say, for Warhammer 40k. Maybe my Space Marines. Obviously, I've got Lunar Wolves, so maybe them I do next. I'm not quite sure. I'd like to get some more scenery done, actually, eventually. So yeah, comment and let me know. Tell me what you think, whether you liked it or not, and yeah, I'll speak to you guys next time. Toodaloo.